Okay, so this presentation is about our Drupal experience in a company named Delo, and we will talk about several different aspects of how the development with Drupal look like in, well, big media company. And let me just start. But first, let me present you our sites. And the sites that we made were different size. The corporate page is one of the smallest Drupal sites that we have. So it was relatively easily made in something like 4 to 5 days. Actually, this speaks volumes about Drupal. And then we have a page that is mainly used by the advertising department. They use it for all kinds of aspects of their work to present well, different advertising possibilities to potential customers. And then we have the next site, it's voting site. This voting site, well, this is an example how specific questionnaire looks like, but the voting site is actually a system that enables you to create something like 9 or 10 different games also to compete for prizes and to actually enter questionnaires. And this site actually is, this is already something like middle site, Drupal site, because it's not the complexity, it's already bigger than the previous sites that I have shown you. And this is our next site, also made in Drupal, which is very important for all the sites that our media company has. It's the central site that connects all users to our sites. This is the central user registration and login page. It is used for users to just, well, log in once and use your profile in our ecosystem, in the system of all our sites. And now our media sites. One of the first sites that have been made with Drupal was one cultural site that has quite in-depth content that is usually not that mainstream, but it's of a very high quality. Then we have a site that is mainly for recreatives or of all sorts, the people that like sport, the people that follow the latest trends. It looks like this. And all the sites that I'm showing you have been made in something like 2 years and a half, and with not that large development team. The development team was something, well, it was, the numbers were different, but something like 6 to 9 developers. And this is home and construction site. This is all these sites have actually their printed counterpart. That means that people can read, well, it also in printed form, in newspaper form, but you also have their more modern digital version that is presented online. And of course, the main Slovenian tabloid. We have also the representative here, so you can attack him later. This site is quite large actually, and was very well received with our customers. It is actually the most complex Drupal site that has been made, and that means that something like more than 300,000 unique visitors visited this site regularly per month. And on the daily basis, it's something like 2,000 concurrent visitors. And then the last site that we have produced is the site that is used for the real estate business. It's getting more and more popular, but it's only 1.5 months old, and it's currently one of the nicest looking real estate sites, and also it has some very nice features. For instance, the searching on this site has been done in a very intuitive way, and all this could not be done without very at one side without very powerful Drupal models, and the ingenuity of one of our guys that is also present here. So how was the Drupal experience actually? 2.5 years we have used to produce all these sites, and how was the overall experience? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it splendid? Well, actually, the experience was generally overwhelmingly positive, because actually we think that without Drupal, without all the multi-layer capabilities actually that Drupal has, we probably would not be able to finish so many sites with very different levels of complexity in such a short time period. And before we go any further, let me tell you a little bit about things that are behind our sites. Hardware. We have 4 ProLiant HP machines, and these machines have 24 cores each, and this with if you count also the virtual cores, you get 48 cores per machine and 48 gigabytes of RAM and plenty of disk space. Actually, one wonders, do you need such a machine to run such sites? And actually the answer is strongly yes, because this hardware actually saved us and enabled us to scale actually with the traffic, with the ongoing and growing traffic that was going to our sites. Well, the organization of these machines is actually, well, it's not something that would be unknown. We use virtualization, because this is the only way that you have symmetric enough situation when you don't want to have too many different systems. You want to have the system such that it's quite symmetrical, and in this way you can guarantee reliability, and also later on you can manage scalability of the system. And a little bit about our sites. The smallest sites that you have seen before, they use something like 30 modules. But the larger sites, for instance, the sites, our main tabloid site that I have shown you previously, has more than 150 modules. These numbers will be used later when I'll be talking a little bit about scalability, because it's quite important how many modules you use, because this actually adds to the complexity of the site, and it depends how you use them. And besides Drupal, we use a lot of caching software, profiling, of course, versioning system, and some deployment tools, and we use MySQL for database. It's the usual stuff. And now the good, the bad, and the whatnot. Actually, the experience with the Drupal community was one of the most positive experience, because the communication and the way the community solves the problem, the way you actually at once, well, you follow the contributions and how actually you are the part of this community. Actually, this gives you a very, I mean, a lot of spirit comes from the community and a lot of positive energy comes from the community that enables you to create big sites and good sites. And the second thing that was quite positive was the experience how actually what kind of possibilities Drupal gives you, what kind of modules do you have. Actually, in Drupal you have such a plenitude of things to choose from that one has to be, well, quite careful to choose really the best stuff, because there is a lot of stuff. And this was overall was quite positive experience. Also with theming, theming can be pain sometimes, but well, one gets used to it. You also get out of the box backend to manage the CMS. This is why it's one of the core things in Drupal is actually that it's a CMS framework, but actually with the Drupal 7 and the Drupal 8 and on, it's more and more very powerful web framework, like, well, general web framework. The hooks, well, the hooks actually was mixed experience, because if there are so many possibilities what you can do with module. You can influence it in different ways when you use different sorts of hooks, and there are many. And actually you have to be quite careful, and you have to have an architecture not to complicate things too much. And if you use hooks in such a way, then it's okay. But hooks actually, they are, well, they have a very long history why they are there and how they are there, and they will stay there. And database, well, with database, there is a pain that is called, well, caching table. You can achieve actually if you have MySQL and you have perhaps you have master configuration because you want to have you want to scale things, you want to process as many requests as possible to, well, better serve the high loads. But if you have certain tables that are not integer key based, primary keys are not integer keys, then you have a problem with MySQL. Actually, with other sorts of databases, it could be better, but here actually you can achieve with this configuration, you can achieve actually master configuration, you can achieve reliability, but to achieve high availability, you have to try a little bit harder. Overall scalability actually, it has proved to be, well, quite hard, but not for the small and middle sizes. Small and middle size sites, because these sites actually, they were quite good when we launched them. They were quite good on their own. The rendering times, the responsiveness, it was all very well. But when you have a complex site like the major tabloid site that I showed you previously, the rendering cycle already takes something like 12 seconds on the ProLiant machine. And 12 seconds, actually it's something that it's not good enough from the user perspective. So one has to have a solution, has to do something. And we did. Here are some little facts, how many SQL queries you have to create a page for large site, and that is quite a lot. And the rendering cycle, it takes that many seconds on ProLiant machine. And what is the solution actually? The biggest problem is that we have very good machine, but the basic, I would say, the out-of-the-box Drupal setup, it's very I/O intensive, but it's not that much CPU or memory intensive. And how can you solve this? Well, one thing to solve this is that you enable all sorts of MySQL cachings to do the MySQL optimizations. The other stuff that one usually do in Drupal is, of course, page and block caching to speed things up considerably. And when we have done all this, the site was still not fast enough. And then we put in front of Drupal, we put Varnish. And what do you achieve with Varnish? Varnish is reverse proxy caching. And in Varnish, you can actually write, well, as complex scripts as you like to govern all sorts of aspects of Varnish. But what is more important is that Varnish actually compiles those scripts to C for very fast execution. And Varnish is C-based software, and it caches the pages, and it actually, when requests comes in, Varnish serves them really quickly. This has helped us a lot, but for the question of assets, we used Nginx. And for everything else, well, Apache was good enough. A little bit about the development process. Actually, if you are producing that many sites, and if you want to produce them in sustainable time frames, you actually have to have certain sort of development process. Here is a very simple sketch of it. We actually divided the development process in 3 ways. We actually have the developer level. This is what each of the developers will be doing on his machines. And then you have staging level, where you actually go and test software before you put it in production, because actually you don't want anything to go wrong in production. And then, of course, you have production level. And how actually this is made, one would of course like that at staging level, the database that one is using would probably have to be alive or as close to the alive state as possible. And we actually have such a system that when you go to the stage level, you have something like perhaps a second old snapshot of a real database. So all 3 development processes are actually connected with deployment protocol. And here is a little bit about our deployment protocol, because deployment protocol has been very crucial for the development. Because when you do these cycles like development, testing, putting in production, development, testing, putting in production, actually all those things that are not necessary, you probably would want to actually automize them to as high level as possible. And what we did was one-step deployment, staging and production levels. Then it's explained a little bit how we get the latest database state. We use the snapshots from LVM. If anybody is familiar with that, it's well, system that sits on top of your physical representation of hardware and gives you logical volumes. And the last thing is automatic creation and destruction of staging levels, because we have just that many virtualization capabilities, and one cannot create new virtual servers. So actually, they are automatically destroyed when they are not used anymore. And this is just a little snapshot, bash snapshot of our deployment script, which is more than 5,000 lines long. Well, the core deployment script that is written in bash is something around 1,000 lines long, but overall it's more than that. And what actually is next? What are we going to do next? We have a lot of projects that we will be doing in this year and the next years. And the question is, of course, every developer likes projects, but as developers, we probably like certain things even more. Well, certain people like cars, we like tools, and our tool is, well, we eagerly await is Drupal 8, because Drupal 8 will go back to full screen. Because Drupal 8 solves a lot of the problems that I have been talking previously. It brings you very nice things also for the backend user, for the editors, for instance, inline editing, and you have a new template engine that will simplify things a lot. And that template language has taken a page out of Django book, if anyone knows it. And actually, what is the conclusion? I mean, how do you like all this? Actually, generally, it was overwhelmingly positive. And that's it. So, if anybody has any questions. Actually, that. Actually, that is actually what every developer would like to upgrade to Drupal 8, but you have, well, in this big of a company, you have time and money constraints. But actually, what we will probably do is that we will create a new site. We will do it in Drupal 8, and then we will see how complex this process actually is. And between Drupal 6 and 7, if you know the history, it was the upgrade path was not well that simple. You could not just switch it and migrate the database and stuff. But one thing the Drupal 8 brings is also you have configurations. You can have them in YAML, and that is something that we eagerly await, because you can have then this configuration. You can have it in your Git or in your versioning software. That helps a lot, because when a lot of developers do things simultaneously, and actually they configure things in database simultaneously, actually this usually doesn't work. So when one uses versioning software with YAML configurations, that sounds like perfect.
Do you have also content developers or uniform developers?
Well, actually, I'm a combo project leader and developer.
I would like to know if developers also do this split, like block, the second blocks or something else, or is it
well, actually, developers did it. Because actually, we didn't. What we actually for design or something, we usually used usually outsourced it. So design was made outside the company, but then all the aspects of views, filters, and such configurations, we did it inside in-house. Delo, the other site is not running on Drupal, but actually, yes, we do have the plans to move it to Drupal, and depends on how the planning will go. Actually, if you would start Delo on Drupal 8, that would be just perfect. I hope that Drupal 8 actually that it will come out this year. That will be just perfect. It's actually something like 2 orders more complex. It's actually this is the reason that well, the design phase and the architecture is already created, and actually this phase was quite long. But because you don't want to have waterfall development, because we usually have something that is agile based, like Scrum or something. But with such a large site, you have to analyze it first to have a good perspective about the functionality that entails or comprises the whole site. Well, actually, we don't. Well, actually, it's you have different approaches, and one of the approaches that well, for instance, for our tabloid, it's quite nice if you have spammers, actually, because well, they engage the public and the discussion, but actually, it depends what kind of level of discussion do you want to have. And for instance, we are now entertaining the idea that we would perhaps change the comments in such a way that actually the public would self-govern the commenting system. But you probably know it already. How this works from various sites, like for instance on YouTube, you have likes. Somebody likes the comments, and you can just show the comments that are above a certain average of likes or something like that. And in this way, you actually engage perhaps the other public, because you always have certain, I mean, members of the community that they want to stand out for whatever reason, for good or bad reasons. And you have the passive bigger public that just follows the communication, and if they don't like the communication, they say, oh, well, we shall just go somewhere else. And so if you give them the tool to express if they like something or don't like something, that would probably foster even better quality communication.
Are they, is there like a lot of, are they biased, you know, like the certain political party wants to change the public opinion, and they, I don't know, brute force, not brute force, just ping the questionnaires.
Actually, that's quite interesting question, because, but for that promotion site, actually, because that we built that enables one to create several different questionnaires and games and such. Actually, those questions were quite neutral, I mean, up to now. And the more non-neutral, I mean, questionnaires are usually on specific sites, like Delo site and also Slovenske novice site. And there actually that's quite a hard way actually to tell if somebody is spamming or not, because one will have to have a very different way of questionnaire that would be able to track I mean, things like perhaps I don't know, IPs or something that we don't lock. And you would have to log all this and analyze all this, and you could see that there were perhaps several forms of an attack. But currently we have very simple system that is actually only memory intensive, so it doesn't get to our I/O. So one can DDoS something like 10 kilo memory buffer, and but actually nothing more will happen. there is no question anymore. I think this concludes.
Is it possible to see a backend of Slovenske novice just to see
how it looks like?
Yes.
Well,
It doesn't need to be Slovenske novice, but something like that has a lot of visitors. It can be also a production server. Doesn't need to be
actually, can you type your oops. Did I Chrome? Ne bi tega direktnega ali bi... mora produra, aha, ok. Kaj našli dva? Actually, now it's the perfect opportunity to actually log the wireless traffic and reverse certain data. Actually, it's that's a model, yeah.
There's the template for your art.
And the press people, they enter the content all that by themselves without problem. You didn't have any problems while training them or something like
No, I think...
years old people don't use this.
No, actually, the experience actually was very nice actually, because they're all, I mean, they're all just, you know, hands-on people. They just go and try things until something works actually. So we could probably just give them Drupal and they would create it by themselves. But
So yeah, maybe I can add here something. When we have launched the Drupal version of Slovenske novice, we have dedicated about 2 hours of time for each journalist to work one-on-one on the new system. So it took them about 2 hours to show everything, how you write an article, how you crop an image, how you make a new poll or a new voting or something like that. But no, we had no problems. It went smooth, but you have to take into consideration that Slovenske novice, the site team is quite young one. So the team is actually your age.
The writer has to have authorization from the editor, or does he post it?
How is the content flowing? So no editor.
No middleman. When you get the username and the password, you can write whatever. No, it's a joke. But yeah, in fact, it is like that. The editor is in charge of take that, please do the third one does this, and then it is up to each and every journalist to produce the content. And of course, as the team is small but experienced, there is no need for the editor to check everything what was written before it goes into the publishing process. But afterwards, of course, the editor can check if everything is okay, if the topics are correct, if all quotes are like they should be. This of course, yes, and of course also the proofreader is the second person who gets the article and checks if everything is okay.
How many groups of users are on the site? Only the editors?
I actually have admins and editors.
So you mean the different levels of access?
Yes.
Authorization.
Let's say the normal journalist has some basic access, which means he can write articles, upload pictures, videos, things like that. The super users, of course, have more ability also to change modules, to reposition them. No, normal journalists don't do that.
Which was the first site that you made for Delo on Drupal?
Actually,
It was
actually was who made it. They were the first. That was that Alpe site.
How is another one? It's some kind of for the it's convenient.
this one.
Yeah. How was the process of? Okay, sorry. I'm interested in process of convincing Delo to go with Drupal, because I'm from Maribor. There is like the chair has.
Are you from the chair?
No, I don't have anything to do with them, but they're also like they're using ASP. Nothing but just ASP for web developing, and I'm interested about the first conversation about where they how did they accept?
Actually, it's not that not that easy, because at a certain point, actually, the media companies, especially in today's world, where everything is going in the digital direction, actually, you have to have a certain understanding that, well, developing good sites and developing them, well, in real time, that means not in several years' time. Actually, that is a good thing, that the media company, well, actually has to accept and go in this direction. And when you have this acceptance, it's actually much easier to convince anyone to use, well, this or that tool. But, well, when there was a decision which tool to use, actually there was perhaps I could show you. There was a questionnaire of something like 46 questions that we have written down criteria that a specific framework would have to have in order for us to use it. And there were all sorts of issues like, is it scalable? And or how do you set, I mean, can you separate the write and read queries to send read queries perhaps on a network of database servers, and you would do writes on different clusters, and then you would probably create a specific, I mean, backend configuration that would mirror all this data. And all such questions, there were 46 of them, have to be considered before which we have chosen Drupal. And Drupal was so in such a mature state that actually this is the reason why we have chosen it almost 3 years ago. The other options were, well, on the PHP, actually the other fleeting options were like WordPress or Joomla, but this is actually it's quite non-comparable for the sites that are the sites of this complexity. And there were also the frameworks that are Python-based, like Django, or pretty much on Python, this is pretty much beside Zope or something. This is pretty much all. And Django, for instance, is a web framework. You don't get CMS out of the box. And for the media company, when you have a lot of articles, a lot of things to put in, actually, you want to have the CMS that is already made, because otherwise you would spend too much time to develop it on your own. Well, actually, who knows, it might happen.
Depends on the project. Will it be confirmed by the board? It's always a minor at the end. Yeah.
Well, the board says swim in this direction, and well, we need the top swimmer there. Excuse me, I didn't understand the first part.
We have multiple websites on one
actually, we have actually four machines that actually serve you this site. It's not well, partially you have a multi-site installation, but this was just well, the first experiment in it. Actually, later on we found out that it is better to have well, each site maintained separately, because it's easier to put well, virtualization around it, and it's easier to actually, it's more error prone, because if something happens on one site, perhaps you uploaded a core that you are trying, it's a new patch, you are quite happy with one of the sites in the multi-site installation, but the other have problems and you cannot put them to production, so it's better if they separate.
But you are using OpenID, so the users are the same for all
sites. Yes. And that's actually, it's quite, well, that was quite one of the best decisions ever, because you don't want to maintain your users for each site separately, and that you have all sorts of complications if you do that.
Did you ever test, like, there are like various tools for testing how many visitors at once you can handle?
Oh yeah, well actually you have AB from Apache. Well, that is a simple tool. It's a command line tool that's quite nice. Then you have JMeter, it's well, Java based, and that's also quite nice. But there is actually, with regards to testing, it's getting well, more and more difficult by the year, because the tools are not that good or adequate as one would probably want. Because when you have, perhaps, if you have a site that is very Ajax based and you want to record all the stuff that is going with a certain, like JMeter. JMeter usually it records your well, HTTP session, like request responses and all the stuff. And then you can play it back, and then you can play it back like 100 times from parallelly in many threads. And the problem is, well, if you have the site that is Ajax based, you can record, of course, this traffic, but it won't help you, because it will help you only when you have stateless Ajax. But if you have stateful Ajax, it means that each request will have different response, and when you record such stuff, it won't help you played back. And so you are quite limited when you are testing sites that are heavily Ajax-based, but in the future looks like that we will have heavily Ajax-based sites, because we don't want to, well, have this old whole page loading and rendering thing.
And we actually played a bit with fire when we have launched sensitivity, because we have launched the portal just one day before parliamentary elections. So, as you know, parliamentary elections are the day when, let's say, the most of users at the same time, at 7 o'clock p.m., when the first preliminary results are released, they just storm to the website. And we are happy to say that we have survived this storm.
Actually, if you want to meet the three members of the team that were crucial, they're there.
You are probably using also some system for to see load, server load, or stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
At which level you keep it, like to average with the servers?
Actually, this is one of the things that I did not mention that was also of paramount importance. Actually, we have one of the guys that is not today here with us, actually our system web combo developer. Actually, he created a monitoring system that is monitoring a lot of aspects of the system. So when anything goes wrong, we see the things on nice charts, and we also have one main monitoring system where you see the names of the sites, and these boxes are in different colors, and if any of the boxes starts to be red, and you also hear a sound that will awake even the dead one, then actually you know that something is wrong, and you have to jump in and make it go away. Actually, we use Monit, if you know. It's Monit. Monit is you have two versions. It's Monit and mMonit. mMonit is the web part of the Monit, and Monit is command line based. And actually, you put these little monitors, you put them on different machines. This actually Monit, I think it's free software, but mMonit you have to pay just a very little sum of money to a Swedish developer. And actually, when you put all this stuff together, you have a centralized view of all the sites, and Monit enables you to measure things like well, what's going on with the cores, with CPUs, with memory, with I/O, with entropy in the system, if anybody is measuring that. And you can get, actually, what from our experience, it was like that, because from one trouble to the next, or from one challenge to the next challenge, actually, we added stuff to these Monit processes, so we were monitoring more and more stuff. And now actually for something like, I think it's something like half a year, we did not add more sensors in the system, because for now it seems to be quite, I mean, quite good monitoring, and it's quite sufficient for the purposes that we use. And actually, you can also write your own scripts in this Monit system. So if you know that there is certain aspect that you would like to monitor, like perhaps you can ping your pages and see if they're alive, and then you get graphs and data and stuff. So it's really nice.
The feedback from the users of your system, how are they satisfied with the system? So they have maybe influence on how it's I think made, or how they can
You mean actually the editors that put the stuff in? Yes, actually, this was in the process how Slovenski site, for instance, has been made. Actually, it was a Scrum-based process, and this it's a process that usually takes something like, well, iteration is something like 3 weeks long, and in this iteration, you actually negotiate with your customer, with your, well, it was him. Really, you negotiate with him what kind of functionality would he like to see in the first iteration. And then when the things are completed in this iteration, well, you know, actually the people have a lot of ideas, and one can reflect on what has already been done, and there is the possibility to have a course correction. And in this way, this is well, much better than, for instance, I like to say waterfall-based planning, because that is good if you want to send something on Mars, but in web development, it has to be much more fluid and much more, actually, much closer to your user.
So you use Scrum.
Which one? Scrum, yes. Yeah. But actually, you know, these agile methodologies, there are plenty actually of agile methodologies, and you have also, I mean, certain methodologies like, I don't know, pair programming, extreme programming, something like this. And what's important actually in this business is that one knows a little bit from each of these methodologies, because when you create a new project, you usually have to tailor your, well, the way how you will lead this project, you have to tailor it to the specific project needs. And it's like that. So actually, I think that we have reached consensus to move to another venture that is called Bunker, I think. At GR Place, it's Gospodarsko razstavišče. And so if there are no questions,